reaching out to us
All
right
right,
now to
guys,
try to
we
get
are
us
live with
involved on
FOREX
it.
right now.
So there's this NFT game, the one that I've been working on for a while, and then there's another game that I'm very interested in developing. It's based on a non-blockchain game that is basically it's an extremely addictive, extremely fun, but also a game that's simple enough that you can recreate it on a blockchain and create a very cool play to earn mechanism behind it. And I believe that it has the potential to be the largest NFT game in crypto. Um, and I already hired a game dev now to start reverse engineering this game that's not blockchain based, and essentially I want to use its core mechanics as a foundation that we can start building off of. Add play to earn functions, have all the assets be represented by NFTs, have it be fully blockchain based, utilize Chainlink to create randomness because the game has an element where you roll dice to determine which assets you get, and then each asset is essentially either a character or an item. The characters have attack and defense values, and you can use the items uh, to either adjust the attack or defense values, or put some sort of multiplier on them, or some different function that will allow the attack or defense values to adjust based on the decisions you make in the game. And also these characters, you can essentially stack them to evolve, and when they evolve, it changes the way these attack and defense values adjust as well. And this is a game that is actually extremely popular right now and is really blowing up, not even utilizing a play to earn function or being blockchain based. It's a mobile app, and it's available on Steam and a browser based. But it's very it's a game that's really blowing up, like on YouTube and all over the place. A lot of people find it extremely fun and extremely addictive. And I believe that we can utilize these core mechanics as a foundation to really build something massive. And you know, I I could spend the next few months or whatever going over all the mechanics of the game and mapping out all of the functions and mechanics to then start recreating it in a contract. But myself and my partner devs, we want to put all our full energy into the animal farm and into drip. So I don't want to be spending, and I'm not going to be spending the next few months reverse engineering. So I reached out to a game dev that I know that makes ROM hacks, and he makes very very high end ROM hacks, which are essentially games like it could be whatever Super Mario 64 or whatever the game is, and he's able to reverse engineer their engine and their code base, and then create his own assets, his own mechanics, his own levels, and basically create original games from the engines and from the mechanics of existing games. So he's the perfect person to start reverse engineering this blockchain game. And so essentially I hired him in a way where we don't have to get into the details of it, but essentially I put capital in an escrow, and if he gives me a full mapping of the mechanics of the game and the source code that can reenact all the mechanics of the game, then those funds will be released from escrow to him, and then we have everything we need to build the game. So so I did it this way. This way, I'm not spending our time and resources reverse engineering some future thing to come. So I can focus on what we're doing right now, building and promoting for Drip and the Animal Farm. But I'm allocating some of our capital, behind the scenes to have other developers building things. So if they do deliver, we're ready to go, and we have another thing to launch. And I'm really focusing now on utilizing our capital and utilizing our resources in this way to make the most of them, and contracting out as much work as I can This way, I'm not taking energy or time or resources away from the existing projects we have going right now.
Forex, I wanted to ask you this question, right? Regarding the games. Have you ever considered attaching a DEX, an AMM DEX to one of the games in a way like how, I don't know if you ever saw DeFi Kingdoms or, those type of platforms, having a DEX associated with the game. So that way there's an incentive for people to add liquidity maybe, and also add it into the game mechanics as well.
Okay, so the first game that I was talking about that I built already, the hacker themed game, this has mechanics similar to the Drip Garden, in the sense, it really in only one sense, but in the sense that the tokens and the liquidity are all held within a contract. So it's not a game where it has tokens that are withdrawable from the system. So essentially, the way it works is you deposit BNB or BUSD, and this allows you to buy a botnet. This botnet can then be deployed in the game, which the game is essentially a simulation of the internet, and you can start infecting servers passively as your botnet is spread through the system.
Right now he's talking about
you
a
can
game
buy
he's working on.
additional tools.
He's talking about a game he's working
by
on for
trading or renting out access to these servers that you've infected on a market. It looks like a dark web market, but essentially it's a market where you can buy items. All of these items are represented by NFTs, and some of these items are available to purchase with BNB or BUSD. Some of them you can trade. You can trade your servers for them, and some of them are only available for purchase with Drip. So, as these, so then you can use these items to either add power to your botnet and its ability to spread and infect servers, or you can use them to attack and build up defenses against other players. So you can attack other players in the game, infect their servers, and you can build up firewalls around your servers to help protect yours. Now, these servers can be sold in the market for BNB or BUSD, and this is essentially how you cash out of the game. So it has a exchange type of mechanism, but it's all held internal to the core contracts. It's not tokens that are withdrawable from the system. So for that specific game, there isn't a need for something like that. For the other game that I was talking about that I have a dev reverse engineering right now.
Yeah, thanks guys for liking. Make sure you like the video so everyone in Drip community knows about this right now. Like the video.
The beginning points of this game, coming up with the different mechanics. Really, like we're at a fundamental, foundational level of it right now. So I'm open to like any kind of suggestions and opportunities.
All right, we're gonna save the sauce on that one for behind the scenes for sure, because these guys, they hear an idea and then they want to go make a token. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, with these games, I'm not interested in creating a new token. I'm interested in creating more value for our existing tokens. So we'll utilize the existing tokens that we already have in these games, and then we'll also allow for purchases to be done in BUSD or BNB, because we can then take this BUSD and BNB and use it as a cash flow to help support our existing tokens. So this is what I'm interested in doing. I'm not interested in developing or launching any more tokens. We have our tokens. Now it's about developing use cases and utility and platforms for them.
Here's another question. Going back to that DEX thing, right? But in regard to Animal Farm, do you think that maybe a chain link, some chain link assistance would help us if we were to want to create our own DEX on Animal Farm to be able to get the analytics that we need for Gecko and for CoinMarketCap and all of that?
Yeah, well, we have the ability to pull price data and all this stuff from CoinGecko and CoinMarket. We use CoinMarketCap, and right now there's no price data feed that determines what an exchange rate is going to be, what the dividend payout is going to be. Nothing. There's no like fundamental importance to the prices that we pull from CoinMarketCap. If there was importance to it, like these prices that we pull up CoinMarketCap, we're going to be determining what the payout should be, like what Bunny did, right? Bunny was pulling their price data from one single point, and that was determining how much Bunny you got paid out. Now, that allowed for someone to do a flash loan to increase the value of the assets they had staked, allowing them to claim a ton of Bunny, and then, basically do a flash loan attack the system. We don't have any kind of vulnerability like that because we're not determining what the devs are or what the exchange rate should be or any kind of fundamental pricing value from a single oracle like that, like a single point of failure. We're not pulling it from PancakeSwap or from CoinMarketCap or anything like that. Our dividend model and our exchange rate model isn't based on anything like that. So one thing I am interested in though, as far as exchanges, is with Drip. So Drip, we already have an exchange, and I am interested in the future in servicing other tokens, and essentially opening up our fountain decks on Drip to allow people to trade other tokens, and we would incentivize people to add liquidity to these tokens using contracts similar to our reservoir contracts. And when people trade these other tokens, a percentage of these trades, like a liquidity provider fee, would go to the people in this contract, similar to a reservoir contract, the liquidity providers, and a portion would be a cash flow that's going into Drip, buying Drip and sending it to the tax vault. That is something that I want to do, and I wouldn't just do it without making some major improvement in PancakeSwap, because I'm not interested in doing essentially a clone of PancakeSwap that has some additional interesting contracts attached to it. If I do something like this, I want to add innovation to the DEX itself. Things such as limit orders, such as stocks.
Crazy.
Yeah,
oh,
I basically want to take all of the awesome mechanics that you get with the centralized exchange and make it available to a DEX. And we would have to utilize Chainlink to do it. And that's something that I spoke with them about today that I am interested in doing. Another thing that I spoke with them about is a project that I talked about a long time ago that I was interested in doing, which is a type of contract that gives exposure to major stock indexes like the S&P 500 and the Dow, the Dow Jones, and these other. And that's something else I spoke with them about today as well. So having a true partnership with Chainlink opens up so many doors to us as far as development and getting promotion and funding. So it costs to have to utilize like randomness in Chainlink, for example. To get a random value generated from Chainlink, you have to spend some capital to do that. And having a true partnership with them allows for the kind of sponsorship that we would need to not pass that cost on to investors. Essentially, they would sponsor us a certain amount of link that would be used to pay the fee. This way, it's not being paid through our user base, and they would be willing to do this because we would be showing the market a new and innovative way to utilize Chainlink, which is something they're very interested in, and bringing a bunch of new users to Chainlink. So, there's a ton of opportunities. Chainlink is one of the biggest partnership opportunities we have, and they're like ready to go now with it. So that's why some of the other partnerships that we have lined up, I've pushed them back so we can handle this right away. But there's the two
big partnerships that we're basically ready to go with are Chainlink and Loot. And Loot is going to be a massive cross-chain NFT protocol that will give utility to the NFTs both on the Drip network and the Loot metaverse. And that's going to be massive as well, because that's another major platform in the space that's innovating. I believe that they have the innovation and the integrity to take over the space that OpenSea holds as the leader of NFTs in crypto, because OpenSea has proven to not have the integrity and security that I believe a platform needs to have to be an industry leader. I've worked with them in the past and didn't have a positive experience with them. Well, I'm not the only one. There was a lot of this was back when I was advising other projects, and essentially what OpenSea did was they decided overnight that they were going to launch an update, and when they did, it made all of the storefront APIs that people use to have an NFT storefront on their site, it broke all of them. And that should have been something that OpenSea would have seen. This was a couple of years ago. This is something that a team like OpenSea should have known and shouldn't have just announced overnight without even letting their people that are developing with their API know about it. And then after everything broke, they said they would get it fixed in a weekend, and it ended up taking them like 3 weeks to fix. And then when they fixed it, they then said that all NFTs that weren't deemed as collectibles, if you're using NFTs as a type of financial instrument, then they were gonna not allow you to sell your collection on the site or use their API. So this then invalidated a ton of projects and like destroyed their use case and really just messed up a ton of projects. And this was early on. This is like almost 2 years ago. And ever since then, I had a bit of a bad taste in my mouth about working with OpenSea. And this is one of the reasons why I haven't done an NFT project with OpenSea, utilizing OpenSea. I pretty much vowed to never work with them again. And then since then, they've had multiple security breaches. They've had high up members of their team, get caught doing insider trading where essentially they're buying the NFTs before it goes live on their site and then selling them for inflated prices before it goes live. This is like blatant insider trading that is extremely negative to the space. And of course, we don't have insider trading type of regulations. And I don't believe there should be insider trading regulation because I believe the market itself has mechanics to handle this. If, for example, the reason why I never do any kind of insider trading and my team doesn't do any kind of insider trading is because we know the market is not dumb and they will realize this and eventually they will stop buying our assets. So for example, if before I make an announcement, every time before I make an announcement, the price does a massive, 20% pump, and then I make the announcement, buyers come in, and then there's a big sell, and that happens over and over and over again. Eventually, people will say, all right, well, this is obviously insider manipulation. I'm done buying this project. I'm done getting wrecked by them. And smart developers know this, so they don't do this kind of insider trading. And this is the reason why I don't even reward myself in dev fees in the native tokens because I never end up selling them. So it's not even something that I'm interested in getting paid out in my own tokens. So I understand this, and good developers understand this, but OpenSea has done this over and over and over again. And I believe the market will correct for this, and people will just stop being interested in using OpenSea. All the security flaws that they've had, all the the insider trading shenanigans, the crazy centralization where they decide overnight they're going to make a change that's going to destroy all of their APIs, everybody utilizing their storefronts. It's so this is why I think that there's space here for a major NFT platform that is truly doing innovation and has integrity to take their place. And I'm working right now in a partnership with Loot because I believe that they have the potential to do this, and they're extremely interested in working with us because they see the innovation we're doing in the space, and they know that if we work together, we can do something massive together. And they have a multi-million-dollar marketing budget, which they're willing to put behind any kind of partnership we do. They have a bunch of traditional market connections. They were just on CNBC and all of these connections, and they have they're incorporated. They have a multi-million-dollar marketing budget, and we have a strong marketing budget. But I think more importantly, we have the community, and we have the YouTubers, and we have the team leaders, and we have the incentives and the game theory to really do a massive community push and like a guerrilla marketing push. And they see that, so that's why again they reached out to us. I'm doing very little of reaching out to other teams for partnerships because we have the biggest teams in crypto reaching out to us right now for partnerships, and I'm spending every day in meetings with them, trying to work out and negotiate deals with them. And then we have all of the people that have filled out the form, which is dozens, for partnerships for Animal Farm and Drip. And some of them are cool. Some of them are real cool. Some of them are people just looking to take advantage of our momentum and all that. So, it's just going to be a process of going through them. But there's no limitation at all on the potential and the future that we have as far as partnerships and development. Like, we have more than we can handle right now. And that's why I just brought on another dev. So he's a solid dev. I've worked with him in the past for when I was doing some advisory role. He actually handled quality control at Certic for a while. He left Certic, which is something that I'm not a big fan of Certic, and he ended up leaving Certic.
It's awesome because we get to know at least what meets their standards, so that way we can cross our T's and dot our I's on everything, plus do the excellent development work that we normally do.
Yeah,
That's
so
awesome.
Basically, he did quality control with Certic, but they used him as a third party. So when they would do their own internal audits in their company, they would then reach out to third parties to do a third party review of their contracts. And this is work that he did with them. And he moved on to launch some of his own stuff and essentially build projects for other development teams. But he's very, very high skilled, and he's someone that I know is trustworthy. But also, since he's new to the team, we're not putting him in a situation where we need to trust him. Essentially, we're putting him in a situation where he writes code. It's then reviewed by me and my partner to ensure everything is correct. And then basically, he's helping us lighten the load a bit, which is important because now we only have so many resources and we're trying to do so much. So we need to bring on additional hands to help us do that. That way we can continue to build without taking attention and resources away from our existing projects. So we're extremely dedicated to that. And anybody that's been a part of my projects for the past couple of years knows that I don't abandon existing projects. I continue to develop and I continue to build onto them where it's possible. So, I could, of course, just decide to move on and start building other things. I'm not willing to do that. This is why I'm hiring other members of the team to help us, continue to develop while maintaining the attention that we have on existing contracts.
So this is a good question that I had on my mind too. How can we set up how will we set up processes for not only a more organized way for partnership inquiries, but also for people who have skills? Because we get people all the time, yo, Ray, I have this skill set, that set, and the third. How can we organize a way for people to inquire with their skill sets as a way to contribute to the team, or to be selected for the team? Like, how can we organize that process? Right.
All right. So we have a form both on the Animal Farm site and on the Drip site. Utilize the one on the Drip site because that's the one that I've been looking at the most. and that will allow you to submit for partnerships. And this isn't just for like project partnerships. You can also submit if you want to either partner with our team from the standpoint of development, or even be a part of the team moving forward. And I'm not going to see if you DM me, because I literally get thousands of DMs a day and it's impossible for me to keep on them. But if you fill out the form on the Drip site, and you let one of the admins know that you filled out the form, and give a quick overview of what you can provide for the team, they'll get it to me, and then I'll go over the form and we'll get back to you. So definitely feel free. We're always looking for new people. You know, I would say, what if we have one thing that we're interested in bringing on right now, it would be strong React devs that are good at web design. So if you're a strong web design dev that understands React, yeah, we might have an opportunity for you. We have so much that we're trying to build. We're going to be doing a complete UI overhaul of Drip, not just to make it more attractive, but also to take advantage of search engine optimization. Currently, right now, when you search Drip on Google, Drip Crypto, or maybe actually, no, not even Drip Crypto, you just search the word Drip on Google, our website is third, so it will come up third, and our Twitter account will come up fourth. This is huge, right? Drip is a common term that people use both in slang talk, but also just in people use the word drip. It's a common word. So for us to come up third and fourth in search options, search results on Google, that's huge, and that's without doing without putting any major focus on search engine optimization. I know that if we put our focus on search engine optimization when we build up the new UI, we will be ranked number 1 and number 2, with our number 1 being our website, number 2 being our Twitter account on Google. So this is one of the reasons why we're going to do a UI overhaul. And also, I want to create the UI for Drip to look like any high standard banking website, like a TD Ameritrade, or Thinkorswim, or Charles Schwab, or one of these major investment bank websites. They've put billions of dollars over the years into researching how to get people to, click the links on their site, utilize the products on their site, get attention to their site.
These sites look like crap, by the
show
way.
reviews, testimonies, all of these things, and they have it down to a science. So instead of trying to reinvent the wheel,
Much better.
I believe that a lot of people in crypto, they either try to reinvent the wheel, or they just copy what other people in crypto are doing.
He should do
I think that's a bit of a
not Charles
mistake.
Schwab.
And I'm learning as I go, as we all are. And I now believe that it's a mistake to essentially launch a crypto project with the type of UI that is common in other crypto projects.
I agree.
I believe that we should be utilizing the same templates that major investment banks use, because there's a reason why they use these templates.
Exactly.
And it's to get people to use their financial products. And this is
like Robinhood.
The new UI we develop will be utilizing this type of template.
Copy
focusing
Robinhood. Make this
on
blue.
Having a high value website, and also a website that is taking advantage of search engine optimization. So that's something that we're going to be working on, and we can do it on our own in-house. But like I said, we are looking to branch out and hire to try to lighten the load a bit, so we can put all our resources into the existing projects and continue development. So if you are a good web dev that understands React, then feel free to fill out a form.
Camco,
then reach out to a dev, reach out to an admin, and he'll get it to us.
So FOREX, here's another question, right? What about, so people who want to build things for Drip as far as protocols, right? if they want support, they should hit that partnership inquiry, right? They should ask, and then maybe potentially we can guide them to be able to do something for Drip. But what about guys who maybe they don't necessarily need the cosign, they just want to build something? What kind of advice would you give them to say, okay, if you're gonna build something, you don't want to wait around for us to check partnership inquiries. At least follow this format. So maybe later on, once you've built something, maybe we could support you, or at least give you some type of shine, as long as you do these things accordingly. What do you think, like on a basic level, like developers out there or people trying to build things for Drip or even for Animal Farm? What should they, how should they organize or set up?
Yeah. All right. So you're going to want to stick with the spirit of the project. So Drip and the Drip platform has no dev fee. That doesn't mean that you can't put a dev fee on it, on your project. And of course, things need to be paid for. So we understand having a dev fee, but don't put a dev fee that's a percentage of every transaction, like 1% of every transaction, because that adds up so fast, and it's so against the spirit of something that we would build. When you have when you do a percentage of every transaction, for example, even if it's 1%, if it's a functional project, right, that has volume and is doing well, it will typically do equal to or greater than what the locked liquidity is in volume.
Cheers
every
to you,
day.
Matthew. Thank you, man.
Usually greater, especially on launch. So if you're at launch, oftentimes you'll do 5 or 10 times what in volume, what the total locked liquidity is. So if you're having a percentage that's, a percentage of every trade going to the developers, say 1%, and you're doing 5 or 10x what the liquidity pool in volume is every day, that means every day the developers are getting 5-10% of the total supply, and that snowballs and adds up so quick. And then all right, so let me break into sections. That's for one, right? Stick with the spirit of the project, right? It's supposed to be a community project, low or no dev fees. If there are dev fees, they should be to pay for the project to be functional. They shouldn't be allowing for one entity to accumulate the vast majority of the tokens. Secondly, if you're utilizing a type of dev fee to pay for things like such as marketing or audits or whatever, it shouldn't come at the expense of the token. You shouldn't need to sell the token in order to pay for marketing or pay for audits or whatever, because you're building in sell pressure. So you never want to build in sell pressure to the protocol as a way to pay for things. So I would say that is that's also something that's important. And then just security, right? You're gonna want to test it, and you're gonna want to understand every single mechanic of the system. There was a project that launched. I'm not going to pick on them. I'm not going to bring them up, but they launched, and it was buying Drip on every transaction, but it was only buying Drip because a public function was had Drip's address in it. But it was a public function that anybody could change. So when you have something like this, it's very easy for anybody to just change that address to a scam token, and then do a type of flash loan attack where the liquidity is then used to buy the scam token that cannot be sold or can only be sold by the owner of the scam token. And now you've just had the project be exploited. And since it's a project built on Drip, that's going to get a lot of attention from the Drip community. And the last thing I want is for some devs that don't know what they're doing to launch something that's going to get the Drip community wrecked. So have your security on point. Be with the spirit of the project. I would say removing Drip tokens from circulation should be something that the protocol does. You know,
Even so, well, on like a small percentage, right? That will always be great.
Yeah, so if the protocol is removing drip tokens from circulation, whether that's sending it to the tax pool or burning them or whatever, it makes sense to send to the tax pool. If the dev fee is with the spirit of the project and it's not like some crazy centralization, if the code is secure and all of that is on point, then I can be on board with it. And also, I would say don't launch on the same day or 2 days away or the same week when Drip is launching a major protocol. For example, we're launching the Animal Farm. The Animal Farm launch date was available and known for weeks. If you're going to be launching something that is going to be drawing attention from the Drip community, which is fine as long as it's going to benefit Drip, don't do it in the same week or the same day or 2 or 3 days away from when we're launching a major project for Drip.
Have some courtesy, guys, please.
Because then you're gonna split attention. Yeah. So like, it's just like those are some basic things, but I think they're basically common sense. And if you have some common sense, then you should be fine. Now, it is best that you reach out. Like, it's all open source code, so anybody can do whatever they want. If you do plan on building something utilizing Drip, it would be good to reach out. Whether you reach out or not, as long as you basically follow the basic principles that I just went over, it's gonna be fine. And we'll probably promote you. We'll probably send people over to you. It's all good. But if you reach out to us, then we can plan with you. We can organize the launch around when it makes sense for us. Mm-hmm. We can build up some hype for you. We can audit your code to make sure your code is secure and all that lines up. And we'll work with you. So it's much better if you reach out. But whether you reach out or not, I understand that some people might not want to reach out because they just want to launch it. They want it to be successful. And then after it's successful, they'll come to us and say, look what we did. Can you back us or whatever? And that's fine if that's what you choose to do. But if you want us to be backing you like from day one, then reach out. Sure.
It's better. You're going to get so much more attention for your project. You guys want to rush. Just wait a little bit. We got a lot of stuff going on right now. And then, take a little time, and then we'll be able to take a look at the project and see what's going on. And then you're going to get the proper cosign. Once you get the FOREX Shark cosign, you're going to bring millions and millions and millions of dollars to your project. Plus, it's going to be bullish for Drip, which you're most likely an investor in anyway. So it just makes sense for everything that we got going on.
Yeah, and we can help you raise capital as well in the pre-sale. Like, we can do the pre-sale in the DAO. And that's going to get a lot of strong hands and like strong community supporters in your project from day one. So
here's a great point. A better shot. You guys have a better shot out there. You developers out there, join the DAO. Once you join the DAO, you make yourself a known member of the community. Once you're in the DAO, now you have, some direct dialogue with some of the heavy hitters in the community. So now you can get, that dialogue. Hey, FOREX, I'm working on this. It's easier for you to get there going through the DAO as a developer. That's a hint for you guys out there.
Yeah, and I would love to be able to speak to everybody, but like I said, we got like 60,000 people in the Animal Farm group. I get thousands of DMs every day, so it's just impossible. If you're a member of the DAO, you're in a group with just a few hundred people. So it makes it much easier for me and the other admins to see your posts. So that's what it's for, right? It's the DAO is it's to get access, both access to information and the ability to share information, and also access to deals like pre-sale deals that we have coming up and stuff like that. So when we do the NFT project, there will be some exclusive NFTs that are only available to DAO members. So we're always creating new benefits for being a member of the DAO, and people that are part of Drip and part of the Animal Farm should appreciate this, because the DAO is it's called the Reap DAO, and this is in order to be in the Reap DAO, you have to hold Reap tokens, which is the first project that I launched about 2 years ago. So this is just another example of how we continue to build and continue to create value for tokens, even the one that I launched 2 years ago. That was the first project I ever launched. We continue to build value for it. And if you look at the price of the REAP token, it was at something like $4, like, a year ago or whatever. It's up to like $120 right now, or somewhere around there. So, we're just continuing to create value for it, and it's really something that I believe strongly in, and that I'm going to continue doing for all of the projects that I have going, Drip and Animal Farm. So let's talk about the Piggy Bank. Let's get into questions about.
Here we go. Piggy Bank is coming up, folks.
Sure. Wait,
thank you
before we
guys.
get
Make
into
sure
that one,
like
this
and
is
subscribe
very,
this
very,
video.
very
Let's get it
important,
going.
and it leads into the Piggy Bank well.
And thank you for the
think
donations.
The community is
helps
very
me eat
curious to know about
M&Ms,
what happens
cashews.
when the tokens,
My
like
dog
Pig
is right
token
here.
and Dog
He's
token
starving to
go
death, so
into
thank you for your
deflationary
donations.
mode. Like, how does that process work? And how does it come back up? Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Then we can get into it. Yep.
So if you are paying attention to the calls channel, you'll see that over $450,000 worth of pigs were sent to a burn address today. This amount of pigs that's being sent to the burn address is growing every single day, and it's being created by the taxes on the tokens and the deposit fees that are coming into the farm, and also the APY that's being generated through the collateral rehypothecation, which is about 30 to 40% of all the APY. Of all the locked TVL on the farm. So all of these different cash flows are buying pigs and buying dogs. Sorry. And they're being sent either directly to a burn address, or they're being sent to the deployer address that then sends it to a burn address. So as the dynamic supply control algorithm adjusts from maximal to peg to restricted to deflationary, it's doing that based on the current price between all-time high and all-time low.
Yes, listen to this.
When we have a correction in the price, it can dip down to deflationary, where it is
beyond
now.
25%.
And when
from
it gets to this point, it's removing more tokens from circulation than what it's emitting.
Which is why PIX is going up.
This allows for the price to stabilize and then cause price appreciation. Now, we see that the PIX price has been stable for weeks now. And the dogs token, price of dogs, has been stable for the past about 2 days. What? And this is since we've gone into the deflationary mode.
Right here, boys.
So,
February 21.
Ability to restrict supply when we have corrections in the price allow for the supply to adjust to the given demand for the assets to cause price stabilization or price appreciation. And now, so there's two sides of price discovery. There's supply and demand. Now, we control supply through the supply control algorithm and the deflationary mechanics of the system. And we create demand through the mechanics of the animal farm and through the additional development and investment options that we are providing and developing. And the next one to hit is going to be the Piggy Bank. So when the Piggy Bank launches, and it gives this major incentive to lock up pigs and stake dogs to increase the commission that you're earning in the Piggy Bank.
What happened? What happened, guys? Where is he? Where is he? FOREX, where'd you go? I think it's on their end, guys. It's on their end. Yep. They've been disconnected. We will get them back live. Can you show just dogs? You guys want to see the chart for dogs? Okay, that's the chart you can see from February 18th. Once we get the video chat, I will go live again. Here we go. Come on, baby. Like and subscribe, and push that notification bell. Man, being a YouTuber, you say all the things you never wanted to say. Do you guys hear that fuzz? This is literally the Telegram. Look, 91 participants. It's not working. Oh,
Probably still talking right now.
here we go. 674 participants, 680. We're getting back online, folks.
FOREX probably going deep right now.
Yeah, you got to bring FOREX back.
FOREX!
Oh, Ray.
Yo, somebody tag the GOAT. The Tom Brady of crypto.
Oh, my.
Did you try to close your
Yeah, bro.
Here we go. We're back.
I closed the freaking share screen.
It's okay. So everybody's back. So it's all good. So
It's all good, guys.
we
Here we go.
control the supply side of the price discovery formula with the supply control algorithm, which has reduced the emission rate to a deflationary model because the tokens are being removed from circulation at a greater rate than what they're being emitted, and we create demand through the investment options on the animal farm and through the continued development. And the next piece of development that we're launching is the Piggy Bank, and the Piggy Bank gives immediate value to the pigs token,
Okay, Piggy
allowing
Bank.
you to earn a high yield, and it's a daily ROI similar to Drip and similar to the Drip Garden.
Right here.
So this is for people that are not sure about the pig pen and thinking, the pig pen is based on the growth of the platform and the success of the platform. Where you may be more interested in a short term turnaround and something more similar to the Drip Garden. This is your opportunity to get in here where you know you're going to get a specific ROI paid to you every day. So it's a different model, and it's attractive to a different kind of user, but we still have the mechanics that reward you for being in and having a longer term position. So it's basically where it's an option for people that have a shorter term investment time frame on the project, which I think that's one thing that we kind of lack on the animal farm, is that shorter term time frame opportunity. We have a solid and extremely strong long-term opportunity. And for those who have a long-term perspective, they're the ones that are going to win. And that's the case always in crypto. Those who have a long-term time horizon and get into solid projects with good fundamentals, they win over time. And they win by being long-term holders. And if you look at any of my other projects, they all have a type of correction after launch. And then when we continue with development and add more value to it, we then break new all-time highs. And the people that benefit in the end are those that are the long-term holders that are in the project from the beginning or, as early as possible and continue to hold through the life of the project. We understand that not everybody in crypto has a long time horizon. And when we built the animal farm, we built it speaking directly to those that have the long time horizon, because we know those are going to be the people that are most successful. But I think the platform may be lacking a bit in opportunity for people that don't have a long term horizon, that want the short term flip, that want the daily ROI, the guaranteed daily ROI that something like a Drip Garden could provide. And we're going to meet that demand with the Piggy Bank. This is going to be attractive to people who have a long-term perspective, because we still offer a major opportunity for people to get greater yield for being a long-term participant in the Piggy Bank. But it also suits the need of people that are looking for a short time horizon, daily ROI type of platform. So it's creating an immediate value for pigs and an immediate value to stake dogs, because the commission structure is based on a model very similar to the B-Reap drip model, and we saw what that did to B-Reap, right? B-Reap, after launch, had a correction. It was down, 70% or whatever, for a few months until we implemented it in Drip's referral structure, and that immediately gave both incentive to remove B-Reap tokens from circulation, to buy B-Reap tokens, and it added this long-term value for them because it gave them a strong fundamental use case and utility. We're doing the same thing for dogs here, but in the piggy bank. So I expect dogs to have a very similar reaction to what B-Reap had when we integrated B-Reap into Drip, which was massive. And we see that dogs over the past couple days has been flat for the first time. So it's had a stabilized price for the first time essentially since launch, and that's because the dynamic supply control algorithm adjusted the emission rate to be deflationary, to be a deflationary model. And since essentially the minute that happened, the price has stabilized, and now we're adding in a massive new demand for the dog token, and this is how we affect both sides to cause price appreciation. We affected the supply side through the dynamic supply control algorithm, and that stabilized the price. And now we're about to add massive new demand, which allows for price appreciation. Now, the piggy bank is it's like an amalgamation of the best elements of the drip garden and a staking protocol similar to Hex, but way more powerful. And we have a bunch of mechanics that are groundbreaking, but are proven to be effective. So
this is one of my questions too, Forex, is what are the advantages that Piggy Bank has over Hex? If we had to just, because we some people don't understand really what Hex is. We have like so many people who are just new to the community. So like, what are the straight up advantages that Piggy Bank is going to have over Hex? And basically, what is Hex? A staking platform, but what are our advantages over them?
Yeah. So Hex is essentially a staking platform where you get a time value or you get a price value for time. So for staking, your principal for a period of time, you can earn a bonus on the APY or on the yield that it generates. Now with Hex, it takes whatever your principal was that was staked, and whatever your principal that you staked, and however long you staked it for, it adds in this bonus at the end. So if you stake it for a year, it gives you a 20% bonus at the end of the year. If you stake it for 2 years, it gives you a 40% bonus at the end of the year. This is on your dibs essentially. So because there is no ability to compound in Hex, and because the bonus is added at the end of your stake, it's extremely limited, and it's a relatively small bonus relative to the commitment that you're making. So what I mean by that is essentially it's a 20% bonus for locking up for a year. Now, if you don't have the ability to compound it, and it's only a 20% bonus at the end of the year, I mean, you could invest in traditional markets and get better than a 20% yield at the end of the year for staying, for being in it for a year. And that's without all of the risk associated with, being involved in such a volatile market as crypto, and being in an innovative product which has its own risks. So there's other mechanics I don't want to really go on about Hex, but let me just talk about the positives of the piggy bank instead. So the all of, and when I don't even need to speak about Hex, because essentially all of the products that are doing something that have a time harvest lockup are essentially copying the mechanics of Hex. So it's there's no need. I don't need to talk about Hex specifically. I could just talk about all of these projects that have a time locking mechanic. So they're all inflationary, right? So all of them, what they do is you stake for a period of time, you get a bonus for staking for a period of time, and at the end of your stake, it then mints tokens, which are given to you as a bonus for time locking. This dilutes the circulating supply and dilutes the value of the assets that it's paying you. Effectively, it's disincentivizing holding at the same time it's rewarding you for staking, which has an offsetting mechanic that essentially it's doing the opposite of what you would want it to do over time. It's diluting the value of the tokens that you're earning a bonus on. This is not something that that I would want to implement into a time staking protocol. With the Piggy Bank, the dividends that are being paid out using a non-inflationary model, similar to how the Drip Garden does it. Now, the Drip Garden is paying out dividends from the platform in a way that allows for contract growth without having to mint additional tokens to pay it out. And this has proven itself to be a successful model where if people are paying attention to the analytics of the Drip Garden, the contract balance is at all-time highs like 5 or 6 months after launch and continues to grow and continues to hit all-time highs every month while paying out this compound interest. So it's proven to be a model that can pay out compound interest without relying on an inflationary protocol. So we're using the same power, and the way that we were able to develop a system that did this is rooted in all of the research we did to develop Drip. So we spent a very long time, over 8 months in the research phase when developing Drip to get a product that could do compound interest without inflation and have it be sustainable. And we used this body of knowledge that we accumulated through the development of Drip, the launch of Drip, and over the whole life of Drip to create a protocol that can do interest-free compound yield. So with the animal farm, we have several mechanics that we use to ensure sustainability and fairness. So when we decided to initially build the Drip Garden, it was because we had a heavy outreach from the community back when these minor games were popular to do one of our own. We also wanted to incentivize people to add liquidity to the Drip token. So we looked at these games, and one thing they all had in common was an inherent sense of instability and centralization that results in an unfair distribution of rewards. So we looked at the power distribution of the protocol and started theorizing in how we could more evenly manage the buying power distribution. And one of the key ways that we did it was by setting the initial contract balance, which creates the initial exchange rate in a way that isn't a buy itself. So what I mean by that is something like a B&B miner or a shrimp farmer or any of these games, you need to do an initial deposit in order to set the exchange rate. That way, when someone comes in after you, when the second person comes in to buy, the contract knows what exchange rate to give them. What this did was allow the first person to add liquidity, but inherently it would always be either an insider or the developer. It would have to be someone that has connections to the developer because they're the only ones that would know how, where, and when to add this initial capital to start the exchange rate. It allowed them to get essentially all of the starting buying power. So we'll use the theming of the drip garden. The way the drip garden works is when you make a deposit, you buy seeds. These seeds are automatically planted for you, and now you have plants. And these plants don't have a dollar value. The seeds are what have the dollar value, but the plants are what produce the seeds for you. The more plants you have, the more seeds you will harvest, the more seeds you will produce, and the seeds get their value based on how much capital is on the contract. Now, if you were the first person to set the exchange rate, when you make that initial deposit, you get half of the seeds from initially. So the developers or the insiders get half of the seeds from the start, just to kick off the exchange rate of the contract. And then at that point, they now have half of the seeds, or those seeds. So they buy the seeds, those seeds are planted, and now they essentially have half of the plants that will ever be generated in the game. So it starts them out with a massive inequitable power dynamic where now they have the ability to compound, and within a matter of a week, they can essentially have a claim to 90+% of all the capital on the contract. And whenever they decide to start draining, it's over, right? They're going to be able to drain 90+% of all of it. We recognize this as a major imbalance in power distribution and something that is inherently unfair and unsustainable. Now, a lot of other developers, and we know this because we were the first ones to do it, say, okay, well, it's fine. I'll make the initial deposit, but I just won't drain the contract. And, basically tell the community, trust us, we won't drain the contract. But what?
And then they make it seem like the contract is growing, but meanwhile, the developer has all the money stacking up in the background, and then when they decide to pull the plug, game over.
Yeah, and that puts way too much trust in the developer. You have to trust them that they're not going to drain the contract, and inevitably they always do. And this is proven. Look at any of these games; it always happens. So we decided to.
Oh, they get hacked too. They get hacked now. FOREX also.
We know hacked is always an excuse for the developers scamming out. That's 99% of the time. That's what it is. So what we did, we said, and yeah, of course, what they say is they don't say the protocol was hacked. They say their wallet was hacked and the hacker withdrew their divs from the contract. If those divs were never available to them in the contract, it wouldn't matter if their wallet was hacked or not. That security issue should have never been in there in the first place, and it isn't with something like the drip garden, because the way that we handle it is that initial deposit, which creates the starting exchange rate, was a simulated deposit where we didn't actually add capital. We tricked the contract into thinking we added capital. So then that set the exchange rate for the first person to buy. And when that first person bought, they got a fair exchange rate because, number one, the developers didn't have 50% of the supply. And number two, they didn't get 50% of the supply. They got an exchange rate that was representative of what we set it to, which we knew would be a fair starting exchange rate. And then we used contract and time multipliers. And what this did was increase the buying power of new capital coming in. So as the value of seeds became more and more expensive, the buying power of new capital coming in became more and more powerful, allowing them to afford the seeds. And this offset the degradation of buying power of new capital coming in and made it an extremely fair curve. So basically, no matter when you come in, you're going to get a fair rate. On top of this, the plants are always increasing. So the plants are inflationary. And some people might be thinking, well, how is this a good thing? And the reason why that's a good thing is because as an existing staker, you're not getting your dollar value of what you're available to claim or how much your seeds are worth from the amount of plants in circulation. The amount of plants that you hold just represents how many seeds you'll be able to generate. So by inflating the supply of plants, we're not reducing the value of existing stakers and of existing players in the system. We're just ensuring that new capital coming in and people that are existing members that are compounding will be able to get a fair rate for their plants because the number of plants is not drastically being restricted. Like the supply of plants isn't constantly being reduced to the point where it becomes impossible for it to be profitable for new capital to come in. So all of these mechanics working together ensure that it's always attractive for new capital to come in. And because of that, our contract balance remains at all-time highs, and it ensures that those who are existing stakers can always see an increasing profit margin as they grow their garden. So we took the same mechanics that we used to build the drip garden that allowed it to be fair and sustainable, and we implemented it into the piggy bank with extra utility. And what I mean by extra utility is instead of having the multiplier for new buying power increasing as the contract balance grows and as the time goes by, it increases based on how long you lock up your harvest for. Now, we're still implementing the mechanics such as setting the initial exchange rate, not with a real buy, but with a simulated buy. This way, it doesn't give an unfair power distribution. We're still having the amount, the value, which determines how much divs you can generate, increase over time. This way, new capital coming in will always get a fair rate. But instead of putting the buying power multiplier on how long it's been since launch or the contract balance, we're putting it on how long you're time harvesting for. And this makes it that much more sustainable because it heavily incentivizes people to time lock their stake. But it still has all of the mechanics that allows the drip garden to be fair over time and always be attractive for new capital to come in. So it's the best of both worlds with these awesome new utilities. So some of the other utilities that I want to speak on is the ability to have multiple stakes. So with the drip garden, when you stake, you have that one stake that you manage. Since we have a time locking element to the piggy bank, we're allowing people to create multiple stakes. This way, you can set up multiple time locking strategies. This way, if you want a system where you can create a weekly paycheck for yourself or a monthly paycheck for yourself, or you want to have a protocol where, all right, I'm going to stake this for 5 years. I'm going to stake this for 3 years. I'm going to stake this for 1 year, and I'm going to stake this for 6 months. That way, when I get to the 6-month point, I can now reassess, see where we're at, and decide whether I want to restake it or I want to claim. And
so FOREX, that goes into one of my questions that I had too, because people wanted to know, okay, the maximum stake is going to be 5 years, and what's the minimum stake?
The minimum stake is going to be 1 week. So, so we were going back and forth between 1 day and 1 week, and the math makes more sense to do 1 week, and also there's really no point to doing time locking for 1 day, right? So we're going to do a minimum of a week and a maximum of 5 years. And the reason for 5 years is it's a bit arbitrary, but you have to have some limit on it, because if the multiplier, which is being added to the principal, is based on how long you time lock it for, and you allow for infinite time locking, meaning someone could do 1 billion years, then someone could do such a high value that it would cause issues in the contract. It would have to be like billions of years or whatever to cause an issue. But because of that, we have to put some limit on it. And I think that a 5-year limit is a good limit, because markets tend to have 5 and 10-year cycles. So crypto market is a bit faster than traditional markets. Traditional markets typically have 10 to 12-year cycles, especially the real estate and stock market. So, and then that affects the bond market as well. So basically all traditional markets follow 10, 12-year cycles. But the crypto market is a bit faster. So we decided to go 5 years, and it works perfectly. Now, let me talk about how the multiplier is applied. All right, it's not applied similar to these other time locking protocols where you time lock for a year, for example, and you get a 20% bonus on your principal at the end of the year because you time locked. I don't see that as being a strong enough incentive, and it's not taking advantage of the innovations that we have made and the innovations that have been made by other developers since these initial time locking type protocols were invented. So if you're time locking for a year in a protocol that allows you to earn a high daily ROI, no one's going to care about earning 20% on their principal at the end of the year when they'll have made 1200x by that time if they compound for a year. See what I'm saying? So the incentive just isn't there for that type of protocol. And also, to have that kind of protocol, it inherently needs to be inflation based, because in a protocol like the Drip Garden, we have no way to predict what the contract balance will be by the time you end stake. This is a bullish thing because we see that the contract balance is increasing month after month, week after week in the Drip Garden. So if we were to look at what the contract balance is when you stake it, and then determine your payout based on this, it wouldn't be good for stakers, because when the contract balance grows, you're going to be cutting yourself short, because we determine what the bonus would be based on a smaller contract balance. So we decided not to do it this way for that reason, and also because we don't want to inflate the supply to pay out a bonus, because this is inherently diluting the supply of the token to pay out a bonus, which is also something we don't want to do. But it's a lot easier from a development standpoint to pay the bonus on your principal at the end of the stake if it's inflationary, because then you just say, I'll pay a 20% bonus, and then at the end of the stake, you just mint 20% more tokens and send it to the holder. This is not attractive in a system that has compound interest. You want to be able to compound your bonus in a system that has compound interest. So the way that we're implementing it is utilizing technology that has been developed over the past 100 plus years in options markets, where a multiplier is applied to the value of your stake over a period of time. Now, if people know a bit about options markets, you have something called theta decay. And theta decay is a mechanism that depreciates the value of your asset as it gets closer to the execution date of your option. Where once your options contract hits the expiration date, it's essentially worthless. And starting on day one, it's worth the full value. Now, there's some other minor mechanics that go into it, but this is the overall pressure that's being put on that determines the value of an options contract relative to time. Now, they are using a type of multiplier, but it's a type of inverse multiplier that is depreciating the value of the asset over time. We're utilizing an extremely similar equation, but we're doing it in an inverse way to cause value and to appreciate the value of the principal of your locked asset over time. So it starts off with being no bonus applied to your stake. And then as it gets closer to the end of your time lock stake, your bonus is being applied to your principal, appreciating your principal, which in turn increases the amount of dividends that you're earning on that principal, because you're earning 3% daily ROI. If your principal is increased by putting a multiplier on it, it's then increasing the amount of interest you're making every day as this multiplier is applied. And we're using the same distribution curve that options markets use to apply this multiplier, but inverse. So instead of causing degradation of your asset, it's increasing the value of your asset over time. So it starts off on day one with 0 multiplier being added to your principal. And by the time your stake has ended, you will have 100% of your bonus being applied to your principal.
So FOREX, all right, I got a monster question. And everybody, I'm sure, wants to know the answer to this question. And I think when we highlight this question and we answer it, I think it's going to bring millions and millions of dollars more to the farm after I ask this question. So this is going to be a monster, all right? So check this out. This question was asked on a Twitter too. And he said, is there another mechanic to support the PIG token to further stabilize price and give more trust to people to stake for years? Now, we don't need any other mechanics, but I think what's really important for people to understand is how we're going to keep a low inflation rate of PIG token on the farm, and how we're going to be. What do you expect? What kind of total token supply range you think we're going to have in the long term to make people more confident to be able to want to use the Piggy Bank and stake for a long period of time? How are we going to control our token supply and how everything works together, and how bullish it is for all this extra millions of dollars of liquidity to be added to the Piggy Bank, and how all of this is going to work together to give confidence for somebody to want to stake 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we already see that the price of pigs is stable, right? The price of pigs has been stable for weeks. And this is without the additional mechanic that's going to be removing millions of dollars worth of pigs from circulation every day and bringing value to the farm as a whole. We also have a tax protocol in dogs, which is variable. So right now we have the tax applied to trading dogs, selling dogs, and other kinds of swaps associated with the dog token. We're not applying a tax
to 285.
on buying dogs, stable. Depositing dogs, or adding liquidity to dogs. Now, this is because until the dog's price stabilize, we want to make it as pain-free as possible for people to buy dogs. We're set within a limit of how much we can adjust the dog's tax, and this is for security reasons, right? We can never make the tax on dogs more than 10%. And this is so everybody can rest assured, because that's been used in the past by scammy developers, like making 100% tax on the token. That way no one can sell it, and that gives them an ability to rug pull. We limit it to 10%, and right now it's 6% on sells and other transactions, and 0 on buying and liquidity and these other transactions. We can increase the tax on the dog token once the price has stabilized, and I believe it already has stabilized in the past couple of days since it's moved down to deflationary. But the introduction of the piggy bank is going to really put jet fuel on that and allow for price appreciation. And when that happens, we can tick up the tax on dogs a bit, and that's going to greatly increase the amount of BUSD being sent to the pig pen. Now, it's also creating more incentive to lock up the dogs token, which in turn adds more value, more TVL to the platform, which allows us to lend out more and earn more yield on the platform as a whole.
Now I
for
look
buybacks.
like a crypto guy.
We haven't even tapped into the capital that we've been raising on the back end through the rehypothecation. It's millions of dollars. We haven't even tapped into it yet to start buybacks. So we're still going through the capital that we migrated over from L1, and we still have a lot of that as well. So the pig token has already proven to be stable in current conditions.
Okay.
Now, with the addition of the piggy bank, I expect to see extreme price appreciation and continued price appreciation.
There you go. There you go. You heard it.
Because of this, people will have incentive to time lock it to earn more. Now, you don't have to time lock to use the piggy bank.
Let's get it back to
you
500
can deposit into the piggy bank and earn up to 3% daily ROI without time locking.
This guy is not stable. Okay,
so we could just be clear. So it could function
yesterday.
Similarly
it moved
to
up
how
to here because he changed it.
Where you put in your capital, it's locked, but you don't. It doesn't do the same like a time lock mechanism. Am I right by saying that?
If you don't time lock,
look,
your user experience will be exactly
stable
the same
because he moved it to deflationary.
Okay, there you go.
That's not stable.
So it's a dual option,
in my opinion.
Yeah,
basically,
so that,
right? Yeah. All right, cool.
That alone should give people confidence to get involved because the drip garden has proven to be a massive success.
Yes.
Right? People are making thousands of X return off the drip garden. So, people are making crazy return off the drip garden.
How is it sustainable?
And continue to, and the contract balance continues.
Does that concern you,
to grow.
FOREX?
And so if you get into the piggy bank without time locking, your experience is going to be exactly like the drip garden. Now, the reason why you're going to want to time lock is because it really makes your ability to compound your interest so much more powerful. The reason for this is because it's adding your bonus multiplier to your principal. And if you time lock, you can still compound. So say I time lock for a week, or let's say 10 days, just to make the math easier. Say I time lock for 10 days. And for time locking for 10 days, I get a 20% bonus. And I lock 100 tokens, right? What this is going to do is it's going to look at what you time locked, look at what the bonus is. A 20% bonus for time locking for 10 days is 20 tokens. So essentially you get 20 more plants for time locking for 10 days. And these 20 plants are added to your principal over the life of your stake. So as the multiplier is being added to your principal, you're now increasing the amount of interest you're earning every day, which you can then now compound, because when you time lock, only harvesting is locked. You can still compound those dividends. Unlike Hex, unlike Mirror Circle, unlike any of the other protocols that have a time locking
Those
system,
are fighting words.
On all those other systems, if you have your capital time locked, you can't claim those divs and you cannot compound those divs.
That is true.
Those
That's why I
locked.
don't stake
those
on
dead
Hex.
in the contract.
I own Hex.
Ours,
I don't stake
since
Hex.
Ours is a major innovation. We have the ability to compound, so you can take that bonus that you've earned for time locking, plus all the divs that you're earning every day, and compound them back into your principal. Now you compound them into your principal. This increases the interest that you're making, allowing you to now compound that, increasing your principal, and having an additional multiplier added. So the way it would work is you time lock for 1 week. Is a 20% bonus for time locking for a week. You stake 100 tokens at the start. These 20 tokens, which would be your bonus for time locking, in the first 7 days of the time lock, six tokens essentially will have been added to your principal. And then in the last 25% of your time lock, the other 14 tokens will be added to your principal, essentially increasing your principal by 20%. And people that know about compound interest know that if you can increase your principal by even a fraction of a percent, it results in many X multipliers as an end result. The end of the calculation ends up being extremely high. So there's a big difference between paying out a 20% bonus on a stake, where this 20% bonus is given out based on how much you stake, or taking a 20% bonus, adding it to your principal, and now allowing you to compound it every day, earning 3%. So you're earning up to 3% ROI on your principal that you staked, plus 3% ROI on the bonus that's being added to your principal, increasing your principal, increasing your divs, which you then compound. You can then compound every day, greatly increasing the compound interest that you end up as a result. So a 20% bonus added to your principal, depending on how long it's staked for, could result in a 2,000% greater dividends in the end. So it's because it's non-linear. It's non-linear growth, which is extremely powerful. And people that have been involved in drip, that have been involved with the drip garden, understand the power of compound growth. So if you have some people that are not utilizing the time staking and they're earning up to 3% ROI, yeah, they'll do well. But the people that are earning up to 3% compound interest on their principal with an added multiplier that is increasing their principal alongside the interest that they're compounding into their principal, it allows them to see a non-linear growth curve that results in way more divs in the end. Like it's way more divs.
Yeah. See, yeah. I think we painted a great picture with that, so people can understand how powerful that is. Imagine putting stakes out there, earning 20% more on that stake, being able to take out your principal and then earn that interest on top of it at the end of a stake. Powerful. Plus the compounding. Amazing.
Yeah. So imagine this. People that have been in drip, right? You've been in drip for the past year, right? Drip's been around for about a year. You've been in drip for the past year. Imagine if when you deposited, there was an additional 20 or 40 or 50% more capital being added to your balance just for agreeing to lock it for the year. And you were able to compound that 50% increase in your principal throughout the whole year. Let's think of how powerful that is at the end, and your ability to earn exponential growth on that. It's not the same as having a 50% bonus paid out on your end interest or a 50% bonus paid out on your principal at the end. It's exponentially compounding your principal and your ability to earn non-linear growth on your principal. So it's extremely powerful. And there's nothing else in crypto that has this kind of mechanism that allows you to sustainably earn compound interest. And we know from the drip garden that this works, and it works extremely well. And having a mechanic that allows people to time lock their harvest just increases the sustainability of the protocol, because it prevents people from having weak hands and getting themselves panicked out of position that a month later they wish they never got panicked out of. And there's a lot of mechanics that go into time locking that really can make a protocol way more sustainable and way more of a long-term dynamic to it.
What gives us a great edge too, so people can understand, is the Pig token majority liquidity is paired, or all the liquidity, most of it, right, is paired with BUSD. So regardless of the market conditions, we could be going into deep red, regardless of what's happening with Bitcoin and all this other stuff. Us being massively paired with BUSD is going to make us put us in a safe zone where Pig is just going to have its own price action going on based on the activity of the community. And then we have all that additional buy pressure from what the animal farm is doing because of the deposit fees and all of the different structure that we have to be able to support Pig's price as well. So this is going to be a safe haven, just like how Drip is a safe haven because we got that massive BUSD liquidity pool. So this is going to be an awesome alternative for us as investors to have our money in something that's going to be market resilient out there.
Yeah, and the Pig's price right now is a bit volatile because it has relatively low liquidity. But when we have this massive incentive to add liquidity, it's going to both appreciate the price of Pigs and create a hardened price of Pigs because the liquidity will be added at this appreciated rate. So the right now there's about $10 million worth of liquidity added to the Pigs token.
This does not look like a failure.
Token that is
the launch,
in the Piggy Bank
hype,
is
stabilization.
Pigs BUSD
Here we are.
LP token.
So don't say Pigs failed. You just sound dumb.
Token. And man, I don't know. I guess I guess I can leak it, right? But I don't know if I should. All right, so
here comes Alpha. Here comes the leak. Let's go.
I don't know. We've been. Let me just say we've been in talks with the major DEX on BSC to work and partner with them.
This is Pancake Swap.
And,
come on.
Back up with something they said too.
It's a lending protocol.
Yeah, and this
lending on Pancake Swap.
Basically, they reached out to us, and it will allow us to do lending on their platform.
Oh, like and subscribe
with Drip, Dog, and Pigs, and the ability to do.
They're going to do a lottery too.
Because right now we're using the majority of the collateral on the animal farm to create additional yield on the back end, which has allowed us to raise millions of dollars, which we'll use for buybacks, which we haven't even tapped into yet. And we're able to do this on the major well-known protocols like Link, BUSD, BNB, Wrapped ETH, Wrapped Bitcoin, etc.
I'm so over NFT
we don't have the ability to
marketplace
do that yet with
crap.
Drip, Dogs, or Pigs. But a major DEX reached out to us, and they're interested in integrating Drip to allow people to stake Drip on their platform to earn yield in their token, which opens up the door for lending to us. And having our foot in the door with Drip will allow us to easily get that done for Dogs and Pigs as well. So let me just leave their specific name out of it for now, just because
you guys want
that's
the name?
been an issue in the past where I've said the name of a project that we were negotiating.
Let me pull you out on that one too, on a different platform, because people want to know about the BetFury situation. So let's talk about that real quick, just so that way people can have that question answered. Is the BetFury thing going to be like something a couple months down the line?
Well, I've always said that it was a couple months down the line.
Oh, come on, FOREX. You said February.
Because we have the animal farm to launch, and we have
I heard his
we have the Piggy Bank to launch, and it was always going to be at least a month after, or if not a couple of months after the launch of the animal farm. But
everything needs its own attention. That's what the community got to understand. Like,
I want
we got a whole
now.
bunch of stuff we want to do.
I get
everything needs to have their own time.
I agree.
We need to promote it individually, and we can't have everything on top
Every
of each
month
other.
needs something new to hype
the
it
same
up.
Force.
Build momentum.
Yeah, so anybody that's been a part of my other projects realize that we always have a major pump at the start due to hype, and then
David Brown.
And then it's about building from there. So once you have the initial hype pump, then you have people taking profit because they were just in it just for the hype. And then the mechanics of the system and the game theory start to play out. and then you add value to the platform by developing. And this is what we've done for all of our protocols, and this is the reason why all of our protocols do better months and years down the road than they did a couple months after launch, and they continue to grow and they continue to do better. It's because we continue to build for them and add utility and use cases for them. That's the same thing we're doing with the animal farm, and yeah, the BetFury partnership is still it's still a go. People did make it a little difficult for us, and this is the reason why I'm not saying the name of the decks that reached out, because when we were in negotiations with BetFury, I mentioned that we were in negotiations with BetFury, and like 1,000 people went in the BetFury group saying partnership with Drip, shilling Drip and all this stuff, and it ended up getting the BetFury team kind of aggravated. And I explained what happened to them, and I told them, well, I didn't say we had an official partnership with them or anything, just that we were working on it and we had just spoken about a partnership and we were negotiating with it. So they understood that, and we moved forward with it, and we still have that on the horizon to do. But if we can get a partnership with Chainlink or a partnership with this Major Dex, which is basically the largest project on BSC, that comes first.
On a whole other level. That Chainlink partnership, people don't understand how bullish that is as well. Super bullish.
Yeah.
Especially in the area and field that you're in, Forex, where you understand trading, you understand how markets work. Just having that kind of integration, and I could imagine like the millions of ideas you have for building different things to support the ecosystem.
This is old news.
Yeah, we actually innovate. So there's a lot of other projects that might use Chainlink for one or two things, but that's it. They use it for whatever Chainlink pitches to them as an idea. But when I speak to Chainlink, I'm thinking of like dozens of different ways we could go to really change DeFi. Right. So and they recognize that. So they're on board. But it's one partnership at a time. We're not gonna do 3 major partnerships at the same time, because you end up losing the promotional value and drawing attention and splitting attention. So really, it's whatever's going to be the biggest partnership first. And Chainlink is ready to go, and they're also massive. They're the number 3 biggest community in all of crypto. So they're ready to go. Next Monday,
the number 1 oracle in the space. Yeah. There's no better oracle than Chainlink, right?
Yeah, and I have a meeting with them on Monday with their head of marketing to discuss how we can do a massive co-promotion with each other. So they're ready to go. So I had a call with BetFury. We talked about opportunities that we can do. They're on board with it. They're the ones that pitched us a bunch of the opportunities. So that is still a go on the horizon. But they're also telling me that they're trying to focus on some centralized exchange listings, and they have a few other things that they're working on as well. Whereas Chainlink is ready to go now, and also Chainlink is way bigger of a project. So if I had to pick between one or the other, I would pick Chainlink anyways, and Chainlink is ready to go now. So we're gonna go with that. Loot is I spoke about Loot when we first went live. They're ready to go as well. And I have a very good relationship with the CEO of Loot. So that's
how far could this partnership with Loot go? Like we're gonna have NFTs that we're gonna be able to have access to based on our deposit amounts in Drip, and that we'll be able to utilize those NFTs cross chain with Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain. But like, how much further could Loot go? Like, what kind of possibilities could we have with Loot? I know that Loot is going to be in a great position because of all the drama that's going on with OpenSea, and they're going to have access to our 80,000, member plus. We're going to be reaching 100K community members plus in like probably the end of the month or something. So like they're gonna have our combination is gonna be sick. But what's our capability? What kind of stuff could we do with Loot? Like what kind of potential is there with Loot?
I think that Loot given the fact that they are incorporated and they have docs, developers, and a CEO behind it, and all of that, we can utilize them to get more traditional institution connections. So we can handle things such as escrow and giving away IRL rewards, such as tickets to events and things like that. They have several game devs that are working to create something similar to VR games, like what Oculus is doing, and I believe that they do have the connections to do it. So it will give us a platform to build on. Basically to take advantage of the next step in gaming, which is going to be metaverse and play to earn ability. And I think having an established relationship with them from essentially day one and having a big plot in their metaverse from day one allows us to take full advantage of that and really have a great relationship with them. Also, their plot, they have plans to utilize their plot as a major marketing tool, and Drip and the Drip community will have a massive share of their metaverse plots that will be used as a marketing tool. So really,
that's awesome. I could even think of us community members, guys in the Drip community who are bullish on play to earn. We can start a Drip guild and then have start building up other lanes for the Drip community to earn income while representing the Drip community and being also part of the Loot NFT ecosystem. Bullish.
Yeah, and they have their own side chain that they do their NFT trades and auctions on, because they're on the ERC20 network and they want to keep costs down. And you basically have to operate on a side chain now if you're doing anything interesting with ETH. So they do that, and they're willing to provide a lot of incentives for us to build on their side chain. And they're not the only.
I think that might be a good idea too, because what I'm seeing also, because I'm in the play to earn, I'm covering all kind of different play to earn games, and what I'm seeing is the major players, they're going into a lot of these subnets. They're going into them because of the transaction fee costs being super low in comparison to just being on the major network like Binance Smart Chain, Avalanche. We could do so many more transactions being on a subnet versus being on any of these major nets.
Yeah, I also want to build out a bridge for Drip to allow for cross-chain compatibility. I don't want to spread our liquidity across multiple chains, but I do want to have a bridge that allows people to take, for example, AVAX and ETH and Pulse and whatever upcoming chains that are going to provide some interest. I want to be able to do a cross-chain bridge to allow for that. And that would, we would need some sort of oracle. And I spoke with the Chainlink Labs dev team today about utilizing Chainlink with that and getting some sort of sponsorship from them. And they were extremely excited about that.
Even though I feel NFT exhaustion, I'm not everybody. That's why I'm putting this poll out there.
That we have worked out is going to open a lot of doors.
I don't feel like we're coming into NFT season. I feel like we're coming out of NFT season. But any new partnerships with Drip is great. I mean, we welcome all partnerships, right?
Of their protocol, and being able to take advantage of their marketing and sponsorship incentives. So they're fully on board for that. Their CTO said that he went over our white paper. He checked out our engagement on social media, and he was extremely impressed by it. And he sees the value of having some sort of cross promotion there. So, on Monday,
of course, because their social media sucks.
I already had a meeting with the Chainlink Labs development team on Monday. I have a meeting specifically with their head of marketing.
This is not impressive.
How we're going to handle this co-promotion. And then
none of these projects are popular.
Get, Piggy Bank out and launched.
I mean, why am I the only person that says honest stuff
immediately after that,
on the internet?
We're going to go right into this Chainlink partnership for Drip and start working on the NFT partnership with Loot. And they're both these are two development teams that believe in what we're doing and are willing to really get behind us and promote us, especially Loot. I know the owner of Loot, and he told me that they have a multi-million-dollar marketing budget that they're ready to put behind us. Anything we develop utilizing their system or partnership with their system or their side chain or whatever we decide to do for them, they're ready to go. And they were just on CNBC 2 days ago, so they're tied in as far as traditional platforms.
It'll be cool if we can get maybe next month, once things start rolling, if we can get maybe somebody from their team to come and speak to the community, so that way everybody's more familiar with some of the stuff that they got going on. That'd be bullish.
Oh, I could probably do that. Yeah, on Monday when I talk to them.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, but I know for a fact, even before I speak to the person that's head of their marketing, what's on the table is Drip and its protocol being added to Chainlink's website, them promoting it on their different social medias, and all of that stuff is like a given. That's going to happen. That's kind of like the base floor where we can start negotiating from to get more. So, it's very exciting. I expected Drip to be successful, but there's no way I could have pictured that, Pancake Swap and Chainlink and these major dev teams would be reaching out to us.
He just said Pancake Swap. He just gave it away.
Boom.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
But
he just said it.
It's big, man. So it's extremely
big.
exciting.
So all right, wait. Well, this is a different question. Just marketing strategies that we're working on. Anything immediate that we're trying to focus on as far as marketing? Like any particular lanes besides the cross promotion? Like what else are we expecting from marketing? And how are we utilizing the community ads and the things that people have submitted to be able to market more?
Yeah. Okay, so we had the ad competition this week. We have at least one winner. I've been working so hard on getting the Piggy Bank developed and prepared to launch next week. That's been my main focus. But we do have we did have an ad competition last week. We do have at least one winner, and right now we're trying to decide where would be the best place to get those ads up. So we've had ads on Dex Tools. We've had ads on DAP Radar. We've had ads on PooCoin. We have had ads on utilizing a company called ads-ads.com or dash-ads.com, whatever. They work with a bunch of different large crypto companies like blockchain.com and bitcoin.com and other sites that outsource their advertising. So we're looking to find the best place to put our ads to get the most bang for our
We need
buck.
a game like this. This is the way to do
process
ads.
I'm going to be putting my full focus on.
This right here, if this said Drip,
basically now.
and the ad is inviting people to come to this type of ecosystem, free games, give them some free crap tokens.
Piggy Bank developed, so
then it drives them to check out, what is Drip? Then they come here, boom.
Developed.
Just develop a game. People love stupid games like this.
When the launch day came around, we wouldn't have to delay it because we weren't finished developing or whatever. So I've been just cramming extra hard to ensure that we got it finished, developed, and tested by today, so that I could make a launch date going a week out, which is next Tuesday. But I wanted to ensure while I was doing that, we had some marketing things going on. We had some quality ads to put up.
Can you guys hear?
I had the ability to do that, and now
sorry guys.
And part of that will include ads. We also have a AMA coming up with a major Discord community. The owner of it, his name is Crypto Sensei. I'm not. Nice. I don't remember the name of the Discord, but
he was right. Yeah, Crypto Sensei. Let me see. I forgot the name off the top of my head. That's fine. Yeah, but it's a whole different community, right?
Yeah, but we're working on that. And there's a YouTuber that has about 125,000 subscribers that we have a scheduled interview coming up with. But
imagine if
really,
I had 100,000
the
subscribers.
interviews and the AMAs are something that I kind of have handled. That we can I know that we can get solid interviews and solid AMAs basically every other day if I want to. So that's locked in. Like everybody can rest assured that we're going to be having plenty of interviews, plenty of AMAs. The thing that we need to work on is getting ads up on high impact sites, and that's something that I'm going to be spending this whole week now that development's done with working on that and reaching out to people, reaching out to connections to try to get them up. I know that we can get ads up on Dex Tools. I know that we can get ads up on KuCoin. I reached out to 8 boards.
Guys,
so
don't waste your money on ads here.
Kind of like a Zerion alternative.
Don't do it.
To them to get ads.
Do what PulseX did.
I'm in the process of
type in freedrip.io. Create a game like this,
I reached out to BSC
and you will crush.
Scan.
All your marketing money should go into something like this. Nobody will listen to me, and I own a marketing company, but whatever.
Negotiating and purchasing ad space from multiple different sites.
Jonathan Shea, thank you, bro. I love it. $4.99. I appreciate it, man.
If anybody in the community has a connection to one of these major platforms or suggestions,
FOREX. Don't market like everybody else.
Your suggestions.
Hit up the admins, guys. Hit up any of the admins.
No, create a stupid game like this.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to.
I'm telling you, it'll work.
Ads up on a site where no one's gonna.
Even for the chance to win a free drip every day, and you create a leaderboard. Look, create a stupid leaderboard that looks like this. It builds momentum rather than putting stupid ads on KuCoin. Frick, I love. Like and subscribe to this channel. It's the only place with fresh ideas.
People organically joining the group, and that's from us, marketing, interviews, promotion, getting ads up on Dex Tools and DAP Radar.
Ads on Dex Tools won't work.
So we are marketing, but now that development is finished with the Piggy Bank, we can put our full time and resources into just strictly promotion and marketing. And
hire me. I have some developers that I can work with. FOREX. We'll create a game like this. It'll be huge. I'll make it viral. I'll hook up with all the big YouTubers, tell them about the game, and I'll offer them an incentive if they talk about the game. I'll give them a referral link if they talk about the game. Trust me, they'll make money. Money talks.
So both for buybacks, for pig pay injections, and marketing, we have millions of dollars. And people that are paying attention to the
guys, I'm not reaching out to FOREX. You reach out to FOREX. You guys go do it. Steal the idea. I don't care.
Paying attention to the deployer address alone, or the address that we did the pre-sale on, isn't going to tell you the full story, because that isn't showing all of the capital that were generated from the collateral rehypothecation as well, which is millions, which we haven't even tapped into yet. So I'm looking to really ramp up the buybacks on the run up to the launch of the Piggy Bank, and this is because I'll be able to have more price impact with the smaller liquidity pool.
FOREX, take your ad marketing budget, turn it into free drip. That means you're going to use that money and buy drip, okay? That will put added buy pressure on drip, which means the price of drip will go up. And you'll use that money to hire a dev team to create a stupid little game like this. And then this game will draw in a bunch of new voices, new eyeballs. And you partner with a bunch of YouTubers and say, hey, will you promote this stupid game? They'll promote it. And a bunch of new people will come on to Drip because they'll learn about the 1% ROI, blah, blah, blah. You got to do this, FOREX. I'm telling you.
Just reduced the supply control algorithm, just reduced the supply and triggered the deflationary model. Since then, that's only been for about a day and a half that this has been triggered. Since then, the price of dogs has been stable and the price of pigs has been stable and appreciated. Now, when we add the Piggy Bank, it's going to have a very similar effect.
Notice how he's saying this.
Dogs as the effect that the drip protocol had on BREIT.
You can't say
where
it's
you're
going to go
incentivizing
up.
people through the referral structure to buy and lock up dogs. And then the drip token is very similar to the Drip Garden in the sense that if you don't time lock, the user experience is exactly the same as the Drip Garden. And we know that on the launch of the Drip Garden, we over 2x'd the price of Drip, and we added about $20 to $30 million to the Drip liquidity pool, which created a hardening and, helped stabilize the price. So I expect to see
290
an impact on the Pigs token.
Look at this.
The price of the Pig
Beautiful,
token is very similar to the impact that the Drip Garden had on Drip, but that much larger, because when we launched the Drip Garden, there was only about 15,000 members of our community. Now we're launching Piggy Bank with like 80,000 users of the community, and we have the ability to trend on DEX tools, which is something Drip has.
Yes, but you also launched Animal Farm with a lot bigger people, and it wasn't the best of launches.
So when we have this type of event that incentivizes people to get into or brings attention to dogs and pigs, we immediately start trending. So I expect dogs and pigs to be trending number 1 and number 2 on DEX tools and other analytic sites. I expect us to stay up there, and I expect us to see very, very strong price appreciation. Now, when the price appreciates and this increase of demand happens, what's going to the result of the on the platform is going to be that the supply control algorithm then upticks and increases the rewards that people get for staking on the platform. And this incentivizes the people that just bought those dog and pig tokens from now putting them into the farm and into the pig pen. So not only does it increase the demand to lock up the dog and pig tokens through the pig pen alone, but this increase in demand that causes increased price appreciation also increases the reward structure of the animal farm as a whole. So it really raises all ships. And that's what we're looking to do here, is create immediate value for the dog and pig tokens for the people that don't have a long-term perspective on the project and need something that's going to give them a daily ROI, where they know, all right, I get in here, I'm going to get a daily ROI on my capital. That is that attracts more of a short-term horizon investor, but that's fine because we already have such strong mechanics and such strong incentives for the long-term investor in the animal farm. And I think the one thing that we're lacking on a bit there is an investment option for people that don't have the long-term vision for the project. And that's what the Piggy Bank is. But it still has the time locking mechanics that greatly reward people that do want to utilize a longer time horizon strategy for their Piggy Bank investment. So let me just talk about a few more mechanics of the Piggy Bank. Not only do we have the ability to earn a multiplier on your principal for time locking, so your principal is increased, allowing you to earn increased compound interest, and your divs that you're earning are time locked, but they're only time locked as far as harvesting them. You can continue to compound them, so you're earning non-linear growth as your principal is increased through the multiplier and through the dividends that you're then compounding, really allowing you to see massive compound interest. This is a protocol that, or a mechanic that doesn't exist in any other project. Now, we're also not paying out through inflation. This is another major benefit. The pig and the dog and pig token, right now, the mechanics alone that are doing the buybacks and locking up the tokens are doing it at a greater rate than it's being minted. Now, when we add the Piggy Bank, which is even further incentivizing people to lock up their dog and pig tokens, now you have a situation where they're deflationary and the dividends being paid out from the Piggy Bank are non-inflationary. They're not coming from minting. So this is another major benefit that we have over every other time locking protocol, where they essentially just mint tokens at the end of your stake and throw them onto your, whatever you have that's claimable. Another major benefit that we have that no other protocol has is the ability to airdrop stakes. So this allows you to airdrop time lock stakes to your family and friends and use them as an incentive for people to join your team. So you can have incentive structures that allow you to reward people who use your referral link without having to worry about them dumping what you've airdropped to them immediately on the market. You can airdrop them a time-locked stake that they can now compound and they can now deposit into, but they have to wait until the time lock is over to actually claim.
Whoa, guys.
So
look at the price of pigs.
Allows for the kind of
pumping.
onboarding incentive
314
structure that we have with Drip.
Look at this. Look at this. Let's look at the buy orders.
Onboarding new users.
22,000.
In the Piggy Bank itself.
31,000. 94,000. 50,000.
No other time locking
pigs, baby,
protocol has. So this is another major innovation.
Like and subscribe if you love this crap.
It's going to be very, very powerful for building up the user and investor base and growing that contract balance. Now, another mechanic is the ability to create multiple stakes. I kind of spoke on this already. You can create stakes with different lengths, different deposits, different multipliers, and different time lockups to create different strategies. And we know that people like to do this because this is something that other time locking projects have. And we know giving people the ability to do this really adds a new element of game theory, and it's fun. People like to manage their different stakes, and this one's ending this day. Maybe I'll plan a vacation around this end stake, or, it really makes it fun for people to interact with it. And the fact that you can now airdrop these stakes is just that much more powerful for onboarding. And it allows you to reward friends and family. You can set something up for your wife or your kid, or gifts, or, your kids.
So
it's really...
There was a question about it too, about the referral that's going to be used for the Piggy Bank. How is that going to be set up? Is it going to be the same one for Animal Farm or a different one?
No, it's different because they're different contracts. So the way that it works is, like I was saying, it's very similar to the structure we used with BREAP and DRIP, which caused the BREAP token to do something like 700x from where it was before we developed the protocol that integrated BREAP into DRIP to where it is right now. BREAP has done something like 700x, something like that, somewhere around there. Because it adds an immediate and very powerful incentive to buy the token and lock the token. So the way that it works is, if you share your referral link with somebody, and they click your referral link and they deposit and they start accumulating in the system, you will not get a bonus unless you have some staked dog in the single asset staking pool. Now, the way it works is...
Oh, stop hyping it.
If you have
bullish on dogs.
2 dogs staked, you get a 1% commission based on the capital that is generated from the person that you referred. The reason why I structured like this, and it's not like a bonus based on what you deposited, is because if you have a system where you get a bonus based on what you deposited, then that's a system that you can self-refer a bunch of tiny little deposits and now be making a percentage off what you deposited, which would be a large amount. So, for example, say you make a 10% bonus for every person you refer based on what you deposit. You can then deposit $100 and then self-refer a bunch of tiny stakes with a 1 cent in each stake and make 10% of your $100 for each time you do this. And this is these kinds of referral systems are leached and have been used to completely destroy projects in the past. projects like Hex Business, for example, or whatever they're called. I don't know, they changed their name a few times, Hexy or whatever it is. They got drained through a protocol like this. There's other projects that didn't mess up to the extent that they did, but still utilize a system like this. And inevitably, they always get leased and they always get drained. Or you have to limit them. For example, Hex, they only had their referral system for 1 year. Now, we have proven that if you set the incentive structure up properly, you can reward people for doing referrals over the whole life of the project, and it will be a net benefit over the whole life of the project if you structure it correctly. And we were able to learn from Drip and the Drip Garden to create an incentive structure that has the same way of determining how much reward you get based on the mechanics of the Drip Garden, but the percentage of this reward that you get based on the mechanics of Drip and BREAP. So we're basically taking the best of both worlds that we already have proven to be highly functional and a massive net benefit for the project, taking the best of both of them and adding them together. Now, it's a one-level referral system, meaning for every deposit and every compound, one bonus is paid out. So it's not a multi-level referral system. Same as Drip, right? Drip does pay out team rewards, but only one bonus, only one referral commission is paid out per positive action, per deposit or per compound. It's the same as that, where only one bonus is paid out per deposit. So it's not a multi-level referral system. But the amount, the percentage that you earn based on what the person who you referred generated is determined by how much dogs you have staked. So if you have 2 dogs staked, you make a 1% commission based on the person who referred. If you have 3 dogs staked, you make a 2% commission. If you have 5 dogs staked, you make a 3% commission. If you have 8 dogs staked, you make a 4% commission. If you have 13 dogs staked, you make a 5% commission. And that's where it caps out, because you have to have some limit on it, or else, some whale's going to come in and by, unfairly, exploit the referral commission structure. But, and also you don't want referrals to be so big that they become a net negative on the system. So we've proven that 5% is sustainable. Drip has a 10%. So we've proven that 5% is more than sustainable. So we're doing 5%, and it's completely based on the amount of dogs you have staked in the single asset pool, which creates an immediate demand for dogs and a reason to have your dog staked. Now, I've had some people suggest that maybe we should increase the amount of dogs that you have staked. And my answer to that is we will make it adjustable within a range. So mainly for the reason where if the dog price gets too expensive, we can reduce the amount of dogs that you need staked to unlock referral commissions. That way the average user can get some commission for referring somebody. And a lot of people were saying at first, we should increase the amount of BREAP that someone needs to hold in order to unlock downline levels in Drip, because when we initially unlocked that, the price of BREAP was like $2 or $4 or whatever it was. But I told them no, because this is going to create a major incentive and a huge spike in demand for the token. That's going to cause price appreciation, and I want the average user to be able to take advantage of it. And we see that the dog price is already like $55 or between $50 and $60 right now. So that's already at the high end of what you would want someone to have to pay and stake to get a commission. You want the average user to be able to take advantage of it. That means that the floor to be able to take advantage of it should be around a couple $100. You don't want it much more than a couple $100 to be able to take advantage of it. So that takes us to 2 dogs steak is at these prices about $120, and that's the floor to get to start making commissions. That's fair. the average user of the farm can come up with $120 to buy dogs, stake dogs. And now for staking dogs, they're earning pigs, which they can compound into the piggy bank and into the pig pen, and they're now unlocking their referral commissions as well. So it has this positive feedback loop. So it's the mechanics of the system as a whole, the drip garden, the animal farm, the mechanics of the system as a whole are working very well. Now, it takes time for the game theory and the mechanics to play out, and that's been the case with all of my projects because they're quite complicated. So it takes some learning curve for the average user to learn how to take advantage of it. But as this learning curve plays out, and as the mechanics play out, the power of the protocol builds and builds and builds, and it starts realizing this on the price. Now, all of my projects have had a big hype launch. They've had a correction, and then a bottom is settled in once that initial hype, pump and dump is over. That comes with all big projects, and then we start to see the mechanics of the protocol play out. We start to see price appreciation. Right now, ever since the supply control algorithm adjusted pigs to restrictive, we've seen the price stabilize and even appreciate. And with dogs, since dogs, the supply control algorithm went to deflationary with the supply control algorithm, we've now seen that happened a little under 2 days ago. We've seen the price of dogs now stabilize. Now, without the piggy bank, the system would start to play out, and we would start seeing this bottom establish and price appreciation as the mechanics of the system play out and build. But the introduction of the piggy bank is that trigger to really set it off, because it's not just built based on hype. It's a massive fundamental change that adds demand for the tokens and incentivizes people to remove the tokens from circulation through multiple different mechanics. And this creates value for the assets, which in turn increases the incentive and value structure for everything on the animal farm. And that has a compounding positive feedback loop, which allows for the product as a whole to grow and really raise all ships. Then on top of this, we're going to be focusing heavy on marketing and promotion to really bring in those additional users. I would like everybody to realize that our TVL on the farm has been stable, which means that the
people after major market correction, we still got stable TVL.
Yeah, the whole market, we're talking like Bitcoin, BNB, everything, has crashed in value, 30-40%, but our dollar value in TVL has remained stable, which means that we're accumulating tokens. We're accumulating TVL. So, and the reason why I say that is because the dollar value on the farm is determined based on the combined USD value of all the staked tokens on the platform. Now, if all the staked tokens on the platform, the Link, the BNB, the Wrapped ETH, are all going down in value, we should see the TVL going down in USD value, but we don't. We see the USD TVL value remaining stable, which means that we're actually accumulating and we're actually growing. So even though we had that big, hype and correction like all big projects do, we've proven to have an increased faith in the project because the amount of capital that's locked in the TVL is one of the best ways to determine the faith that the user base has in the project. They're keeping that money in there because they know it's going to result. And they're not only keeping the money in there, they're adding capital to it because they know that it's going to play out for them for the long run, partially because they understand the mechanics of the system and how powerful they are, but also because of my track record where all of my products have this same cycle where we cement the bottom, we grow, we make all-time highs, And then 6 months, 1 year, 2 years down the road, we're doing better than ever because we continue to develop and we continue to allow the mechanics of the protocol to play out. Now, as the price of dogs starts appreciating and as everything's in full swing and we're really snowballing, we'll start adjusting the tax rate in the dog token, which will drive more BUSD to the pig pen, which will create a longer term incentive for the owners. Right now, I would say your best bet would be to diversify between the piggy bank and the pig pen. That way, you have exposure and you're growing your share ownership of the platform while it's affordable to do, but you're also accumulating your share of pigs and BUSD because it's the pigs BUSD LP pool. So you have both a short-term and a long-term play, and really take advantage of this time lockup because look at the drip garden. It's been going for like 5 or 6 months now. The contract balance is larger than ever, which proves that it's fundamentally different than all those shrimp farmer games and all those B&B miner games. Now imagine if for this time you could have been time locked and been earning your compound interest on a 40% larger starting principal, right? That doesn't mean that you would have 40% more dividends. That means that at the end, if you've been compounding, that means that you would right now have maybe 2,000 or 5,000 times more dividends right now. And the reason why it's sustainable is because the reason why you're getting that multiplier is because you're agreeing to time lock it. So you're not claiming and draining every day. So that's why it's sustainable. And also because we have all of the other mechanics that we developed through the introduction of the drip garden to make it fair and sustainable. When I talked about that, let me just touch on it again. I already said it, but just for new people, when you add the initial capital, when the developers added the initial capital to B&B miner, for example, or shrimp farmer, or any of these games, they start the initial exchange rate by putting the initial capital in there. When they do this, by default, they get 50% of all the assets on the contract. So speaking of the theming, like the plants theming, drip garden, where you have seeds and you have plants, if we had done a protocol which was the same.
Guys, I got to get going soon, but I will keep this going. I really appreciate your support, chat, because this is what I'm doing for my job. So send me a super chat. If we get one in the next 5 minutes, I'll continue. If not, I'll take that as a sign of let's move on. All right. Thank you so much to Vernon. Appreciate you, man. You don't have to give anything, man. You're super generous, and I appreciate it. But that's kind of how this thing works. Thanks, guys.
And this is the unfair protocol that all these other mining and shrimp farmer, etc. games utilized. We made a fundamental change to that to ensure that we essentially tricked the contract into thinking that we added the initial starting capital to set the exchange rate. And then the first capital was really added by the first person to buy at that exchange rate. And we started the exchange rate at a rate that would be fair. So the first person that bought didn't get 50+% of the supply. Instead, they got a very fair exchange rate that is equivalent to what basically everybody else in the system got after them. And then we have the two assets, the seeds and the plants. The seeds represent the dollar value of your stake, and the plants represent your ability to accumulate seeds. Now, the seeds are what have the USD value, and that's what you need to be worried about accumulating as much as possible of. The plants, of course, allow you to do that, but it doesn't matter what the USD value of plants are because you're not able to cash out plants. You're achieving your value proposition from the seeds. So we increased the supply of plants to offset the buying power depreciation that happens on these kinds of exchange rates to ensure that no matter when you get into the contract, you're getting a fair rate. And this is the same mechanics that we are utilizing in the piggy bank to keep it fair. But instead of having a blind time and contract balance multiplier, which is just increasing as the contract balance grows and depending on when you stake it, instead it's a time multiplier based on how long you're going to time lock your harvest, which has the same end function, but achieves what we're trying to do that much more powerful, because it's rewarding people for staying in longer and for not draining the system. So it's that much more powerful. Now, another mechanic that we have that is not being utilized in the drip garden, but is being utilized in drip, is a max payout. So this is something that's not in the white paper.
There's gonna be a max payout in the pig pen.
There's a max payout in the pig pen, and there's also a emergency end stake function.
Right.
So there's two mechanics. But
wait, before you get into it, because this is gonna lead into it anyway. The question
3 minutes
people
left.
still are,
3 minutes.
They we gotta just make it clear for people to understand. There's gonna be an option to treat this just like there's going to be an option for us for people to treat this just like how the garden is, where your capital gets locked and then it's up to a 3% rate, and then we're going to have the staking platform where we'll be able to talk about having multiple stakes, etc. And that principle is going to be able to be withdrawn after the stake ends, right?
Okay, so the way it works is, no matter what, your principal is locked, but your principal unless you essentially emergency end stake. But if you emergency end stake, of course you're penalized. But the way that it works is you earn yield on your principal at a rate of up to 3% a day. This principal is locked, and this is this is one of the key components that allows a system that allows you to play compound interest to be sustainable. So drip garden, any protocol that allows you to do sustainable compound interest is going to have a locked principal mechanic.
Right, and that's how we're able to sustainably pay that high yield. Right, makes sense.
But with the drip garden, for example, the ROI that you're earning on it allows you to essentially make back your principal in the first month. So it's essentially, if you're locked in there for, it's even less than a month if you compound, but essentially if you're in there for about a month, then yes, you can withdraw your principal, because that's the amount of divs that have accumulated. Now, if you time lock, the multiplier is being added to your principal, and the multiplier stays in your principal. So when your time lock is over, and this is why it's so important as well, and why it's more bullish that you're not withdrawing your principal, because you're able to earn divs for the whole life of the contract. So the way that it works is, if you don't time lock, then you deposit your you deposit into the contract. You then earn a daily ROI up to 3%. This can then be compounded, and your divs add up. And whenever you want, you can claim.
All right, guys, 15 seconds, and I gotta close the chat. So if you want to send a super chat to keep it going, let me know that way, or else I gotta shut it down.
But
5,
your available divs can
4,
still be compounded.
3,
For time locking your divs, for time locking your ability to harvest, you get a bonus. And this bonus is based on a percentage of your starting principal. Now, this bonus that you're getting on your starting principal is added to your principal over the life.
I do need to wrap it up. But thank you for those that did donate to the channel. Keeps me going. That's what I'm doing. Trying to provide value to the Drip and Animal Farm community. So all your love and help means the world. Thank you, guys. We're going to end it right here unless you have any other questions for me. Tex thanks you. We're going to take him on a walk. Anything else, let me know, or we'll shut her down. Have a good one, mate. Thank you, Joshua. I'll DM you the recording with FOREX. Okay, thank you. And thank you, Camco, for your donation as well. We had a great stream. It was long. Oh, we just got it. All right. Guys, give it up for Trade the Waves. He just donated $5, so we're going to go another 5 minutes, all because of Trade the Waves. So thank Trade the Waves. Whatever he promotes right now in the chat, you should go do it. Thank you, Trade the Waves. Go ahead and leave us your information in the chat.
Stop adding bonuses to your multiplier. It will stop adding bonus multiplier to your principal unless you time lock for longer. But the bonus that has already been added to your principal remains in your principal, so you can continue to earn yield off of it for the whole life of the platform. Unless you emergency end stake. So the way that the emergency end stake function works is if your claimable dividends have equals what your staked principal is, then you can withdraw half of your principal before your time lock is over. But if you do this, you kill the stake. So you can no longer earn off that yield. So it's a mechanism that is truly only for emergencies, right? If you need to access some capital and that was all your capital, and you've been in the system long enough that you're and this prevents people from setting a stake and emergency end staking the next day or 2 days in or whatever. You need to have some element of honesty there, where the amount of time that you're staking for is going to be somewhat close to what you say you're going to stake for. But if you staked for long enough that your available divs to claim are equal to what your principal is, but you still are time locked, so you can't actually harvest those divs, you can emergency end stake and withdraw half of the essentially half of your principal. But that kills the stake, and you can no longer earn on that stake. Now, 100% of the dividends that would otherwise be going to this person that emergency end stake will go to the people that do have time locks and do stake when they say they're going to end stake when they say they're going to end their stake. So this is important because it's unlike other systems where if you emergency end stake and you're penalized, 60+% of that penalty goes to a developer or goes to one entity. In this case, 100% of it goes to reward the participants of the piggy bank that do time lock and do stay in for the length of their whole time lock. So that's extremely positive for people that do want to time lock and are going to follow through with their time lock. Now, we have the ability to do multiple different time locks, multiple different stakes from the same wallet at different lengths. So there really shouldn't be any need to emergency end stake, because you can do a strategy where you have one stake ending in a month, one stake ending in 3 months, one stake ending in a year, one stake ending in 2 years. That way, you should always have something coming up around the corner that you can end stake if an emergency comes up. But for people that don't take advantage of any of those utilities, that don't plan properly and have an emergency, you don't have to worry about it. You will be able to withdraw something from the protocol.
So my two last questions, that's it. Are we going to have something in the referral page, like let's say the page of the Piggy Bank, where we'll be able to see who used our link for referral? So that way we can be able to create an incentive where it's like, okay, you use the link and then I'll be able to airdrop you a stake. But like, we need like a way to measure it, like who's using the link and who's not. Will we be able to like figure that out?
That's a good idea. For sure, we were going to have the ability to see how much you've earned, and you can always look on chain to see who used your referral link. So that can already be done. But that's a good idea to add an additional type of like mapping table to show you who used your referral link. That's a good idea. Yeah, I think that's something we will implement.
That'd be bullish. Something simple. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something to implement on the
we could
front end.
control F the page and say, okay, use your link. Let me just search this guy. Boom. Oh, you use the link. Great. Now you're gonna get a stake. It'll create way more incentive for people to do it too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. And then let me just talk about there's so much more to it. But let me talk about one additional mechanic, right? We have a max payout on it, and the max payout is not it's similar to drip, where with drip there are two kinds of max payout. There's a max payout based on how much you've deposited and how much you've
All right, guys. Unless there's another super chat, I'm going to have to wrap it up. I appreciate all the comments, all the super chats today. We had a long conversation. So any other questions before we wrap it up? I appreciate every one of you guys liking this and subscribing. As you can see, my channel is all about Animal Farm, all about Forex, all about drip community. So appreciate all of the love today. All right, so I'm going to head to walk my dog now. I'll give it 10 seconds. If there's another super chat that comes in, we'll go. But if not, guys, I do need to end it. I got other million things to do, but I wanted to come on here, provide this for you guys. I know you love and appreciate it, so thank you so much. We'll see you guys back here, I'm sure, with more videos coming tomorrow. So, all right, 5. Are you guys ready to end this? You guys can go walk your dogs too. Thank you for your time. Yes, of course. My privilege. All right, we're going to end it. 5, 4, 3, 2. See you guys.